Good afternoon, everybody. A very warm welcome to all the distinguished dignitaries present here at the 26th edition of DST-CII India-Portugal Technology Summit. The summit is being jointly organized by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and the Confederation of Indian Industry, CII. Over the years, the summit has been instrumental in providing significant opportunities to forge and foster bilateral technology partnership, shape new public-private partnerships, and explore new models of S&T engagements. We are indeed privileged to have Portugal as the partner country for Technology Summit this year. We will now begin with the inaugural session, and to commence the session, may I invite Mr. Vipin Thondi, Chairman, CII National Committee on R&D and Innovation and Chairman Technology Summit, and CEO and MD Ashok Leyland to give his welcome address, please. Sir.
Thank you, Renuka, and namaste, good afternoon, and good morning, good evening, as you are. Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Healthcare, Earth Sciences, Government of India. Professor Manuel Aither, Honorable Minister of Technology and Higher Education, Government of Portugal. Dr. V.K. Saraswat, Member Niti Aayog, Government of India. Professor Elena Pereira, President, Board of Directors, FCT. Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. My colleague, Mr. Alok Nanda, Co-Chairman, CII National Committee on R&D and Innovation and CTO, GE South Asia and CEO, GE India Technology Center. Mr. Sanjeev Varshni, Head International Operations, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Excellencies, I can see Ambassador in Portugal. Good morning, ma'am. Distinguished panelists, participants, ladies and gentlemen, and friends from the media. On behalf of the Confederation of Indian Industry, and it is my proud privilege to extend a very warm welcome to the esteemed dignitaries to the 26th edition of the CII DST Technology Summit. For the last 26 years, as Renuka had mentioned, this yearly summit has been instrumental in providing significant opportunities to forge and foster global technological partnerships. The Technology Summit has evolved as a forum to forge partnerships, create joint ventures, and explore new avenues for collaborations to boost trade and investments. It has developed into the largest technology event in the country with widespread participation of experts from both India and the partner country. We are indeed privileged to have Portugal as the partner country for the summit this year. India and Portugal have been bilateral partners for several decades now. The fresh momentum has given a thrust to the Indo-Portugal economic initiatives and build a high degree of collaboration at the industry level too. In a fast-changing world that combines unique opportunities with challenges for both society and businesses, boosting business ties between India and Portugal, and that's of immense significance. Against this backdrop, Portugal's collaboration for the 26th edition of the DST-CII Technology Summit as a partner country will create a strong foundation to strengthen the existing partnership. And I take this opportunity to welcome the Portuguese delegation to this virtual platform that will provide unparalleled opportunities to further connect scientific knowledge creation to business enterprises from our two nations. The presence of a large Indian representation comprising of captains of the Indian industry, policymakers, researchers, and NGOs here today underpins their commitment to bolstering the ongoing relationship between our nations. It is also a reflection of the expectations and outcomes of the earlier editions of the CII DST Technology Summit. This long-running summit symbolizes Indian industry's belief in the power of science and technology in contributing to the industrial and economic growth. The Indian industry has forged several meaningful partnerships and collaborations with industry, academia, researchers, and NGOs from countries that have partnered the past editions of the summit. The ensuing government policies have triggered private sector investments in R&D, innovation, and co-creation of solutions to shared challenges. Several joint ventures and technology transfers have also been established by the Indian industry with counterparts from partner countries in the earlier summits, including Israel, Canada, UK, Spain, Italy, Finland, amongst others. Bilateral CEOs forums, mechanisms to fast-track trade, and setting up of centers of excellence have continued to drive business-to-business affiliations even post each of these summits. And this summit, therefore, is an invaluable platform to forge new public-private partnerships, explore new models of cooperative engagement, and PPPs between Indian and Portuguese governments, academia and businesses in areas including water, agriculture, healthcare, IT, ICT, clean tech, renewable energy, and very interestingly, space and ocean research. With the successful and historic Indo-Portugal STI collaboration, the two countries have built a robust collaboration in a range of areas, and several joint projects, joint ventures, pillars of cooperation amongst industry players from both sides have recorded extraordinary achievements and displayed exponential and exceptional potential for further cooperation. These address shared challenges across a range of sectors, including agri-tech, healthcare, water, IT, ICT, clean tech, maritime, ocean, and leverage complementary expertise. The unprecedented crisis caused by this global pandemic has clearly established that a coordinated global approach to resilience is the inescapable need of the hour. Various Indo-Portugal institutions are jointly developing solutions to the big challenges facing the world today. Some of these Indo-Portugal joint projects and investments have already adopted sustainable business and inclusivity as the underlying theme for their collaboration, driving towards UN's Sustainability Development Goals, the SDG targets. The technologies aimed at addressing global societal challenges also offer immense business opportunities. We are sure that the coming together of the visionary delegates assembled here will foster a new area of technology and innovation for our nations. These 3 days are a unique opportunity to gain insights into the shared challenges and emerging opportunities, as well as for hearing the progressive views of ministers from both India and the Portugal side on innovation, technology, and partnerships. We also look forward to exploring institutional level collaborations to nurture ecosystems for joint innovation and technology development. And I'd like to once again express our gratitude to Your Excellencies for gracing us with your presence today. Your presence symbolizes the significance and the importance of the partnership between our two nations. Thank you very much, and back to you, Renuka.
Thank you, Mr. Sodhi. I would now like to invite Mr. Alok Nanda, Co-Chairman, CII National Committee on R&D and Innovation, and CTO, GE South Asia, and CEO, GE India Technology Center, to address us, please.
Thank you, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening to wherever you are in whichever part of the world. Namaste from India. On behalf of the Confederation of Indian Industry, it is my proud privilege to extend a very warm welcome to the esteemed dignitaries to the 26th edition of the CII DST Technology Summit. I am delighted to share that the Technology Summit marks a celebration of the science, technology, and innovation collaboration between India and Portugal. The fresh momentum has given a thrust to the Indo-Portugal economic initiatives and built a high degree of collaboration at the industry level too. In a fast evolving world that combines unique opportunities with challenges for both society and businesses, boosting business ties between India and Portugal is of immense significance. Against this backdrop, the Portuguese collaboration for the 26th edition of the CII DST Technology Summit as a partner country to create a new foundation to strengthen the existing partnership. I take this opportunity to welcome the Portugal and India delegations to this summit, which will provide unparalleled opportunities to further connect scientific knowledge creation to business enterprises from our two nations. CII and the Government of India's Department of Science and Technology have jointly organized the Technology Summit consecutively for the last 25 years. This long-running summit symbolizes our belief in the power of science and technology in contributing to the nation's growth and to channelizing efforts of the policy makers and industry leaders towards promoting innovation and technology development. Both India and Portugal are deeply committed to the achievement of the 2030 targets set under UN Sustainable Development Goals. Therefore, the summit's theme focused on water, agriculture, healthcare, energy, and clean tech is aimed at enabling our nations to jointly deliver on this commitment. We, in the Indian industry, are proud to have been a key engine to the country's development process. Working in lockstep with the government, we strive to integrate people enablement and technology in a bid to contribute to country's growth journey. CII consistently works in this direction to strengthen India's innovation ecosystem by enabling technology and innovation-driven enterprises. Our endeavor is to inspire Indian industry to recognize research, development, and deployment as a key driver for business growth. It is in this pursuit that CII initiated this summit 26 years ago to build an ecosystem for technology through the Technology Summit. I would like to state that CII's commitment to fostering an ecosystem for leveraging technology to address societal change challenges by encouraging industry participation in the process is reflected through several initiatives like Global Innovation and Technology Alliance, GITA, a joint venture not-for-profit company incorporated by CII and Technology Development Board of DST that has successfully incubated several industry-led collaborative R&D projects. Through CII, we are proud to be part of the processes to facilitate Indian and partner country organizations' efforts to take the projects to the next level after the summit. This summit is an invaluable platform to shape new public-private partnerships, explore new models of cooperative engagement and PPPs between Indian and Portugal governments, academia and businesses in areas including water management, agriculture, healthcare, energy, climate change, clean tech, IT, and ICT. I once again extend a very warm welcome to the esteemed dignitaries and the delegates to this summit. I wish this summit deliberations all the success. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Nanda. I now invite Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, to give his address. Sir.
Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Minister of Science and Technology, and Minister of Health and Family Welfare and Earth Sciences. Professor Manuel Heiter, Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Higher Education, Government of Portugal. Dr. V.K. Saraswat, Member, Niti Aayog, Government of India. Professor Helena Pereira, President, Board of Directors, FCT, Portugal. Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Mr. Vipin Sondi, Mr. Alok Nanda, Mr. S.K. Vaishnav, Ambassador Singla, and all the friends who are with us from Portugal and India. As we heard, that DST has been organizing this technology summit with a partner country for the last 26 years in cooperation with CII. The summit has thus facilitated co-creation of knowledge, two-way technology transfer, collaborative R&D projects, and enhanced market access between India and the partner countries' industry and research institutions. Now, in the COVID crisis, we have seen the importance of technology in supporting and saving our lives. Thus, countries across the world are making concerted efforts to harness the power of technology to make industry increasingly competitive, facilitate development, improve societal benefits, and foremost, to have the triple helix of industry, academia, and government working together. Taking into account the new opportunities emerging in a knowledge-driven era, India has also been exploring and developing technologies to achieve the country's economic progress and meet the aspirational goals. While doing so, we strive to work on the futuristic technologies with a view to leveraging many disruptive potentials of those technologies. Looking at the size of India's economy and the volume and diversity of its population, India has certain advantages. But its dominance in science and technology capabilities has been the result of dedicated efforts. The S&T ecosystem has blossomed in India by the gradually increasing focus on its policies, an impetus that has been ably supported by the years of economic reforms and landmark initiatives. There are very many ambitious plans as well as the activities underway to get India skilled in the areas of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, virtual reality, and so on, Industry 4.0, robotics. There's a huge mission on cyber physical systems that was launched last year at about $500 million US, and this has set up many different hubs of technologies in Industry 4.0, robotics, data, IoT, across the country, and this is a huge opportunity for our partner countries to work together. Another mission on quantum technologies worth more than $1 billion is underway, and another one on electric mobility and storage, which is so necessary in the era of the rise of renewable energy. So all of this and many more exciting things add up to a huge potential out there for us to work together on the technologies that are going to impact our lives now and in all the future to come. The foundation is also a national research foundation is being set up to further promoting ideas on AI, big data, robotics. Coming back to Technology Summit, I'm so delighted to share that this summit will see the signing of several MOUs and agreements with the stakeholders from both the sides. Given the success of our STI partnerships, I am sure that these agreements will result in increased bilateral trade between our nations, as well as new solutions to address global societal challenges. I urge all the delegates to have joined this platform to network and make use of B2B meetings and the facility to deep dive and explore collaborative possibilities. The 3 days of the summit will present good opportunities, in fact, great opportunities to explore a closer partnership and to explore prospects for bilateral investments across different sectors. I wish and hope that the two country partners, India and Portugal, the very best of deliberations will take place during the summit towards building a shared future by harnessing the power of science, technology, and innovation for socio-economic good. Thank you very much. Have a great summit.
Thank you, Professor Sharma. May I now invite Professor Helena Pereira, President, Board of Directors, FCT, to give her address, please.
Good morning from Lisbon, Portugal, and good afternoon to all of you in India. On behalf of the Portuguese Foundation for Science and Technology, it is my honor to address some words to this inaugural session of this prestigious India Technology Summit, where we are privileged to be the partner country. India and Portugal are deeply connected for historical reasons at various levels. Science and technology are one of these connections, that has been strengthened in the present times. In fact, the Intergovernmental Agreement for Cooperation in Science and Technology was signed between the Indian Republic and the Portuguese government at the turn of last century, more than 20 years ago. This makes India one of our oldest and dearest partners in science. Let me very briefly give you one example of the science partnership in what relates to one important pillar of science, people. The number of scholarships and fellowships given by FCT to Indian students and researchers. Over the last years, FCT awarded almost 300 scholarships to Indian citizens, of which about 1/3 are PhD scholarships and 2/3 are postdoctoral scholarships. These numbers show the interest of Indian students and researchers in universities and research units in Portugal. Let me also stress the quality of life that our country provides for foreign students. I invite you to go to our website, Study and Research in Portugal, where you can find more information on Portugal and, quoting the website front page, find out what makes the difference and why creative people choose Portugal. India and Portugal share a common view on the need to invest in science to foster a strong economic and social development. And the Portuguese Foundation for Science and Technology and the Indian Department of Science and Technology are crucial actors for implementing the measures to enhance science. We have engaged in close cooperation through several bilateral initiatives, such as the organization of joint workshops or, mostly important, the launch of joint calls for projects. Over the last 20 years, DST and FCT have launched 5 joint calls for mobility projects, resulting in almost 80 joint projects in various fields of knowledge. Early this year, our cooperation was deepened, and DST and FCT launched another joint call to fund research projects. With a budget of 2 million euros, the call was open to research institutions, universities, and centers in India and Portugal in different knowledge areas that we think are relevant nowadays for science and society: biotechnology, energy, environment, sustainability, climate change, disaster management, marine science and technology. And of course, taking into account the present times, we also encourage science and technology solutions against the COVID-19 pandemic, which fall within these areas. The applications are now under evaluation. This call was particularly competitive with more than 400 applications, so we can safely predict that excellent joint projects will be soon underway. And in the near future, DST and FCT will organize joint workshops to discuss these projects, and of course others in related areas, so that we can further foster collaboration between the research teams from both countries. We had recent and successful examples, such as the workshop on marine and technology sciences, hosted in Lisbon 3 years ago, or the workshop on tissue engineering organized in India, in Kharagpur, 2 years ago. The importance of global science, of sharing, and of the access to scientific data was dramatically recognized in the worldwide emergency times that we are now living. Political measures based on sound scientific advice, as well as a clear communication sharing with citizens, are essential to mobilize civil society and strengthen confidence in public institutions. This remains fundamental for boosting the role of research and innovation in the response to the pandemic and in the search for solutions to the crisis. Let me just exemplify with the digital transformation of the health sector and the implementation of interoperable digital infrastructures. I will finish my speech by recalling that India was the country guest of honor in the annual science meeting of Portugal that took place in Lisbon in 2017 and was attended by more than 4,000 researchers, including several Indian researchers doing some work in Portugal, others just visiting researchers. The successful participation of Indian partners in our flagship science event was a clear signal of our close relationship at historical, political, diplomatic, and, of course, science levels. We want to further develop and enhance this science collaboration in areas that are important for both countries. Let me just exemplify with materials, nanomaterials, biomaterials, and intelligent materials, with the science and technology of the oceans, of the observation of Earth, and of course, not forgetting agriculture and forestry with the precision technologies and a bioeconomy approach. I am fully sure that this present summit will be a success. It is my sincere expectation that DST and FCT will continue to build a strong platform for joint science and technology endeavors that will foster the collaboration between Indian and Portuguese scientists and research teams. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a very fruitful event.
Thank you, Professor Pereira, for your very, very informative address. It is now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Dr. V.K. Saraswat, member Niti Aayog, to give his special address. Sir.
Honorable Minister for Science and Technology, Dr. Harsh Vardhan ji, Minister Professor Manuel of Science and Technology of Portugal, Professor Helena Pereira, the President of FCT, my dear friend and colleague, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Chandrajit Banerjee, DST-CII, Shri Alok Nanda ji, Mr. Vipin Sondhi ji, and Sanjeev Vashne, and all the participants to this very important summit, the 26th CII summit, which is taking place in the country today. I think the efforts of CII and DST in collaborating with the large number of countries to foster greater collaboration among the industry, academia, and the scientific institutions has gone a long way in promoting this cause. I think this particular summit will certainly augment the efforts of relationship between Portugal and India. All of you know that science and technology is transformative, disruptive. It has been there for centuries, and today its importance has become more and more important with the kind of technologies which are emerging in the global arena. India and Portugal, who have been collaborating, are no exception. Sharing of data, knowledge, and technology has benefited both the countries in the past. Since both are developing economies, the success in science and technology-based innovation certainly has made great impact, and I'm sure in the future also its impact will be immense. The statistics of the trade and investment in the platform today is a testimony of the excellent relation between the two countries, where there has been a bilateral trade increase by about 21% on a year-on-year basis, and Portuguese investment in India also has doubled in 2019. There are a large number of areas where expertise and knowledge of both the countries can be shared, particularly in the area of infrastructure, renewable energy, solar and wind, basically tourism, hospitality, space, defense, IT and electronics, water and waste management, agriculture and food processing. And the list is very long. I'm not going to touch upon that. But the fact remains that over the years, there has been good progress. S&T agreements in 2017 and the launch of a 4 million euro science and technology research fund are really hallmark of cooperation. I'm giving to understand now that under this cooperation, more than 400 applications have been received. And this summit is going to now, and the workshops between the Department of Science and Technology of India and that of Portugal are going to look at all of them. And that is going to establish relationship between academia and industry, industry and academia and the national laboratories. That is going to be a great platform where S&T can be given a major push, and translational research, which is the most important thing today in this world, will certainly get a flip out of this. Renewed efforts to meet the COP21 targets through clean and renewable energy missions and launching carbon dioxide recycling missions together and foster the process of collaboration further. I'm of the opinion that the present pandemic has reinforced the requirement of collaboration further in the health sector. As Professor Sharma was mentioning, the collaboration strategy for health sector would be to utilize the disruptive technologies which are emerging today, like artificial intelligence, which can accelerate the disease diagnosis, research for new products, the Internet of Things for wearable medical devices and remote patient monitoring, augmented reality to boost the knowledge transfer process that are virtually required, genetic engineering powered by technology advancement is expected to make a significant impact on the life sciences and healthcare business. And clinical research partnership with modernization will have patients be consistent in terms of doses, apps can be sent and reminders when there is the next dose. And of course, certainly it will also help the regulatory automation, which is the order of the day today required because of the kind of urgency needed for developing the vaccines and other medicines for mitigating this particular scenario. I am of the opinion that this issue of the collaboration can certainly be of great help because the agreement for cooperation in science and technology, which has been signed earlier between Indo-Portuguese Joint Science and Technology Committee, has certainly laid the foundation for that. And I am of the opinion that other areas like agriculture, like space, and also energy and water management and waste to energy management, many of the things where there is a tremendous scope for collaboration between the two countries and they should be harnessed. I think no collaboration is complete unless there is a strong bond between industry and industry. I think it's not only the Department of Science and Technology of the two countries, but I think the industry in India and industry in Portugal, they have to join hands. And that is where the role played by this summit will be of great importance because I see the presence of large number of industrial partners from both sides. And they will be in a position to carry out the kind of business which is needed for augmenting the economy of the two nations. The transformation will come only if we can join the vehicle of innovation together. It is innovation that is going to drive the economic growth, and certainly this collaboration should be able to reinforce that. CII has been a great platform between DST and CII. I think the testimony of that is a program called GITA, which has really reinforced the collaboration between scientific institutions in the country and also the industry and academia. So if the same format is transformed internationally, I think it is going to create a great benefit to both. I'm very happy that this summit is being organized and there's a huge participation. The work which has been done in the past since 2017 is exemplary, and I'm very happy that this is being taken forward. I wish that this summit becomes a great success and wish all the participants all the best and hope that this summit will bring more business for both the countries and mutual collaboration leading to economic growth. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. V.K. Saraswat, for your very insightful address. Ladies and gentlemen, in the presence of the two honorable ministers, Dr. Saraswat, Professor Helen Pereira, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, and all our esteemed guests, I wish to announce the virtual inauguration of the digital exhibition of DST-CII Technology Summit formally. The exhibition is hosted on a dedicated multi-feature virtual online CII Hive portal, wherein we have approximately 50 exhibitors showcasing some of the best technologies from India and Portugal. The portal also has a digital library and a digital B2B lounge. The formal inauguration is the play of this video clip. Can we have the video clip, please? Thank you, dignitaries. May I take the honor of inviting Professor Manuel Heiter, Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Higher Education, Government of Portugal, to deliver the keynote address, please.
Morning and good afternoon in India, good morning in Portugal to everyone. Let me thank you very, very much the invitation from the Indian government for Portugal and the Portuguese research community to participate in this summit. Let me start first of all with a message to the Indian people. We live in unprecedented times in India, in Portugal, and everywhere in the world. The pandemic crisis associated with the new virus has been very democratic in being expanding to everyone. But we know that some people are having a larger impact, in particular the most fragile, the most vulnerable have been particularly affected by this virus. And these are times of solidarity among people. And certainly the virus have called in an unprecedented way in our lifetimes to look at science, at technology, but also as the way we can trust on science and on the new frontiers of knowledge. The pandemic crisis has also shown us that there is no limit to science. We have speed up the development of a vaccine. At the same time, many national movements have been trying to speed up that movement in a way that we must be very careful and considerably apply for a global solidarity about building trust among people. And we rely very much in India, one of the oldest world democracies that have also called and shown the world how complex is to keep a strong democratic regime under such a large population. Portugal is a rather small country as compared with India, but our ties are long-standing ties which we really believe should be fostered and promoted under the principles of a knowledge and a democratic society. So a message of trust to the Indian people. I believe that we need to rely on knowledge to be out of this crisis, but also make sure that we understand the message of the pandemic crisis and develop a future for our future generations, which is better and without future pandemics. Let me, under this context, to concentrate in four messages. My first message is about the need to foster open collaborative research. The experience of the collaboration between India and Portugal, but more generally between India and Europe, has shown us again that free mobility of researchers and open collaborative research has brought the best success results. Actually, the most successful vaccines which are being produced at a world level, they rely very much in scientists which have moved for instance, from Turkey to Germany, from India to the United States, and therefore we need to understand that a knowledge society is the one which is open to free mobility of researchers, to the free mobility of ideas. Let me give you some examples. In the area of nanotechnology, we have a very relevant group of Indian researchers in Portugal at the Iberian International Nanotech Lab, INL, at Braga in the north of the country, where the most advanced nanosciences and nanotechnology have been developed in the area of electronics, but also in the health and food security application areas, but more and more also in the lithium cells production for energy applications. Also in the area of bioengineering, we have nowadays an advanced group of Indian researchers in one of the leading European research labs in bioengineering and biomaterials, located also in the north of Portugal at the University of Minho. And again, new knowledge, particularly in terms of biodegradable products, have been developed at that lab under a very global environment. But we have also Portuguese researchers in India. A few years ago, I visited the IIT network, in particular the IIT Rocky, IIT Madras, among many others, where, in particular, Rosa Paris and students are developing a number of social contexts in order to better understand the way population at large can adopt, and should influence the development of new technology. So either in the science and the art sciences and advanced technology, but also in the social sciences, we have been learning how important it is to keep open and free mobility of people and ideas. My second message is about the future of science, and I hope that this summit can also convey the message. And this is because we know that this pandemic has started in animals, it has passed from animals to human beings, and we know by scientific evidence today that zoonotic diseases are increasing as a result of an imbalance between our economic activity and Mother Nature. And this is an important issue because we are more and more evolving into a new geological era, the Anthropocene, and the scientific evidence clearly shows that we need a new balance. One of the most important issues that we have been identifying through scientific evidence in India, in Pacific, in the Atlantic Ocean, is the deposit of plastics in the depth of the oceans as a critical challenge for our societies. So in order to avoid future pandemics and future crises, we need to find a new balance between our economic activities that we all want to foster and the ecosystems which we live on. And this new balance requires new knowledge, what I call the science of the Anthropocene. Also, it requires institutional innovation. We need to be smart enough to foster collaborative arrangements among institutions to really promote the sustainable development. And it requires, more than ever, new observation methods. The experience of Portugal and India, among many others, in new observation methods has been particularly important through advanced space technology. And that requires more and more small satellites located between 300 and 600 kilometers from Earth, and this requires opening up access to space as well as the development of the new space context, particularly when small satellites are integrated with them, or the information derived from small satellites is integrated with them, advanced IT processing systems, including artificial intelligence, to completely modify economic activities in the planet Earth. And this includes land register, precision agriculture, autonomous mobility, either by car, train, or ships, among our daily life in order to better use space information and the way we can look at planet Earth from space. Therefore, space has been a particularly critical technology for the future of our human being in the planet Earth. And also with agriculture. We know that India has an enormous capacity, skills, and power in the agro-food. Europe has been also delaying a number of reforms in the area of agriculture, and we need to understand how far we need to speed up in the coming decade the way science in general and technology in particular influences the development of the agro-food industry, particularly because today it represents one of the most polluting sectors throughout all the economy, with particularly a large ecological footprint. But also because we have a very unequal distribution of food throughout the planet. Between the richest zones and the poorest zones, we have a gap, and we are not producing enough food for all the populations in the planet. We know, for instance, that in Africa, there are more than 1.5 million kids dying every year without food. And therefore, the way science, and in particular genetically improved elements and products, can be developed by decreasing the price, by opening access to food to everyone, and above all, by decreasing the ecological footprint of the agro-food sector. We should not leave no one behind. And particularly the science of the Anthropocene, the future of science, will be very critical to bring to the center of the discussion those that have been typically left in our margins. And this is an important message for the future of science. My third message goes to the relationship between science and employment. Now, after and in the process of this pandemic crisis, we live worldwide in a social economic crisis because of the employment and jobs which were lost as an impact of this pandemic. And therefore, we need certainly to understand how science heals, to create vaccines and therapies, but we also need to look how science creates employment. And we know that this can only be achieved by what we call a knowledge triangle, by linking together education, research, and innovation. To work out collaborative arrangements that create jobs and better jobs, that create more jobs and better jobs associated with new knowledge, but also new technology challenges, is probably one of the most short-term challenges for science worldwide. And in Europe at large, we are particularly mobilized to implement recovery plans, which will rely above all on the way research and innovation can foster new jobs. A key example between Portugal and India is the digital area. Actually, a few years ago, many people were arguing about how digital transition could destroy jobs. Today we know that it creates jobs, but it needs to be associated not only to job creation, but also to reskilling and upskilling of our skills. We need to convert people in many sectors and in unemployment to become digital engaged, and we need to update the skills of all of those that are already engaged in the digital transition process. But the way to speed up digital transition and to make a greener world is essentially to increase the number of jobs we need to rely in order to have a more sustainable economy. And therefore, the relations between science and job creation are more and more important. And again, the collaboration between India and Portugal can bring good examples for the way we can better articulate science and job creation. My last and fourth message goes to the collaboration between Europe and India. As we know, during the next semester, the first semester of 2021, between January and June, Portugal will have the presidency of the European Union, under which a very important summit will be organized between Europe and India. The Portuguese presidency for Europe will claim in 5 key dimensions, particularly an Europe which is more green. Second is more digital. It is also more resilient to avoid future crises, but it is also more social and more global. The Europa-India Summit among heads of states and prime ministers will be particularly important in promoting the idea of global cooperation for social issues. We need to really understand how the greening and the digital transition can be done together with a more social world, relying in social relationships, and particularly in global cooperation, which can promote better quality of life to our people. Again, we understand that it's through the triangle of educating, research, and innovation that we can achieve these goals. And this is important because the high-level summits between heads of state of Europe and India will be organized in May in Portugal. And the summit today and tomorrow between Portugal and India is very important to convey a clear message to be discussed in the May summit between Europe and India. And so with this, I will close with my final remark. It's essentially to concentrate efforts during these days of the summit to prepare a very important document to be discussed in Europe-India Summit of May 2021. From the Portuguese side, we have invited 2 rapporteurs to work with Indian colleagues in order to produce that report. The rapporteurs will be Lars Montelius, the director of the International Iberian Nanotechnology Lab, and Rosa Pérez, a Portuguese social scientist that spends most of our time in IIT Roorkee in India, particularly doing social and anthropological research. And in inviting these 2 people, we need to understand the key challenge for the greening of our societies together with the digital transition we live in, but also for a better social understanding of the context under which technology can be adopted and should be further developed. In particular, in the area of nanotechnology, a number of new research between Portugal and India, but also between India and Europe has been developed. And I call particular attention to the development of lithium and lithium cells towards the electrification of our mobility, and certainly the use of nanotechnologies for a new setup and arrangements for health diagnostics, particularly for virus like the one we have faced. So I really thank the rapporteurs of this meeting, and I will seriously ask them to mobilize everyone in India and in Portugal, research community, research leaders, particularly to guide and to produce a very pragmatic report that can convey the main message of this summit to be discussed in Europe-India Summit of Prime Ministers to be organized in May 2021 in Portugal. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very fruitful days in this summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. We are indeed privileged to have your valuable inputs today here on this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the proud privilege of inviting Dr. Harsh Vardhan, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Health and Family Welfare and Earth Sciences, Government of India, to deliver the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Professor Manuel Haito, Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Higher Education, Government of Portugal, Professor Helena Pereira, President Board of Directors, FCTC Portugal, Ms. Carlos Pereira Marques, Ambassador of Portugal to India, Dr. V.K. Saraswat, Member Niti Aayog, Government of India, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, Ms. Nandini Singla, Indian Ambassador to Portugal, Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, Director General CII, Mr. Vipin Sodhi, Chairman CII National Committee, and MD Ashok Leyland. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to be addressing the 26th edition of the Technology Summit, a flagship event of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, in collaboration with one of the leading chambers of trade and commerce in our country, Confederation of Indian Industry. It is indeed an honor to have Portugal as the partner country for this year's edition of the Technology Summit. The summit is a reflection of the effective partnership between the government and industry for developing a robust, enabling tech ecosystem in the country. India has made remarkable progress in recent years in its overall performance in the fields of science, technology, and innovation. We have attained the third position globally in terms of the number of publications. India's growth rate of publications in leading science journals is nearly 14% against the global average of 4%. We are among the top 10 countries with respect to the number of patents filed. Our exceptional innovation coefficient and scientific capabilities have come to the forefront during the COVID-19 pandemic. From the development of indigenous vaccines, novel point-of-care diagnostics, and therapeutic formulations based on traditional knowledge, to establishing research resources and offering services, Indian R&D entities, both public and private, have been working relentlessly to develop effective interventions for combating the pandemic. More than 100 startups supported by the government have provided innovative products and solutions to overcome challenges posed by COVID-19. Our government has announced a grant of $120 million for COVID-19 vaccine research. This is being provided under COVID Suraksha Mission to facilitate and accelerate development of indigenous vaccine development from phase 1 to phase 3 to manufacturing. It will also help to build a robust ecosystem of immunoassay labs and strengthen our clinical trial sites. In India, about 30 vaccines are in different stages of development, out of which 2 are in the most advanced stage. Both Covaxin, co-developed by ICMR Bharat Biotech, and Covishield from the Serum Institute of India are in the phase 3 clinical trial stage. Our premier institution, the Indian Council of Medical Research, is involved in their trial executions. India is also hosting clinical trials for all major vaccine contenders across the globe. Serum Institute of India, the world's largest vaccine manufacturer, is conducting trials for the vaccine developed by Oxford University. Zydus Cadila is also conducting phase 2 trial of an indigenous DNA vaccine. One of our pharma giants, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, will distribute the Russian vaccine in India after conducting final stage human trials and receiving regulatory approval. Relations between India and Portugal date back to over 500 years, when the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama had led to a seafaring expedition to Calicut in Kerala in the 15th century, making him the first European to discover a direct sea route between Europe and South Asia. Our diplomatic relations have flourished on the back of our like-mindedness and commitment to fair trade and globalization. Our common values are reflected in our undying belief in Mahatma Gandhi's principles of non-violence, equality, and dignity of all mankind. India and Portugal's strong interest in each other's economies is evident from our bilateral trade in goods, which grew by 21.06% year on year to surpass $1 billion in 2019. It is encouraging to see the enthusiastic participation at this summit of the large Portuguese delegation comprising industries, institutions, and research organizations to augment bilateral research cooperation and trade opportunities. India has nurtured over 50,000 startups over the last 5 years, of which about 33 have achieved the unicorn status with their valuation over $1 billion. With these startups, the government is encouraged to launch Mission Startup India 2.0. Portugal too is becoming the most attractive startup hub in Europe, spurred by an open culture and a keen focus on entrepreneurship and innovation. Portugal is building a flourishing startup ecosystem. The next iteration of this collaboration will be to encourage new solutions based on cutting-edge technologies such as machine learning and artificial intelligence. It is the most opportune time to take the Indo-Portuguese partnership to the next level. It's heartening to note that the India-Portugal Technology Summit 2020 will deliberate on critically important areas of healthcare, water, agriculture, food processing, and information technology. It will not only open up new avenues of growth for both the countries but also help improve the quality of life of our citizens. The next 3 days offer a good opportunity for the participating companies to explore prospects for bilateral investments across various sectors. I also urge the companies to support startups from both sides, undertake collaborative research and human resource exchange. The pandemic has shown how only science has stood by mankind in its time of need. Collective efforts of governments and scientists from all across the globe have helped us cope up with the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19. On those lines, I wish all partners and stakeholders to have fruitful deliberations towards building a shared future by harnessing the power of science, technology, and innovation for greater social good and sustainable development for all. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to address this esteemed gathering and hope to see several positive outcomes from the Technology Summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your inspiring address. I would now like to request Mr. Sanjeev K. Varshney, Head International Cooperation, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, to close the session with his remarks, please.
Thank you, Renuka ji. Dr. Harsh Vardhan ji, Honorable Minister for Science and Technology, Health and Family Welfare and Earth Sciences, Professor Manuel Haiter, Honorable Minister for Science, Technology and Higher Education, Government of Portugal, Professor Dr. V.K. Saraswat, Member, Niti Aayog, Government of India, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Professor Helena Pereira, President, Board of Directors, Portuguese Council for Science and Technology, Mr. Bipin Sondhi, Mr. Alok Nanda, Ms. Nandini Singla, our ambassador in Portugal, Mr. Carlos, Portuguese ambassador in Delhi. Thank you all for blessing this inaugural function, which not only shows your support, but also put together both India and Portugal in doing their best in improving techno-commercial relations. Not only the scientific community, but also the industry champions are here. And we are going to have 3 days of discussions on how this partnership could further dwell and we could work together. As this technology summit is discussing all those areas of science and technology which affects the society, be it water, be it health, agriculture, ocean, clean technologies, or be the upcoming areas like space and information communication technology. We are going to work both in the frontier areas of science and also in the solution area of science, providing better and economic solutions to our society. We look forward for very, very healthy and exciting discussions. And as was mentioned earlier, we signed our agreement, Science and Technology Agreement, 2 decades ago. But the momentum has come now when 3 years ago we renewed this fund, India-Portugal Science Fund, which is now 4 million euros. And we have, as was told, received 450 research proposals, which shows the kind of excitement between the research and academic community. And now with the participation of industry, we are very confident that we should be able to attract not only co-investment, but also investment to provide solutions and technology-driven solutions to the knowledge which has been generated through our scientific cooperation. So I look forward for a very, very exciting session, and I thank everyone, to ministers, to secretaries, to ambassadors, industries, and all those players who have helped us in the organization of this event. And also I take this opportunity to thank our sponsors who have made it. Thank you very much, and we are looking forward for a very, very exciting discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Varshney. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this inaugural session. I thank all our distinguished panelists for their time and invaluable insights. I would request all the delegates present here today to virtually visit CII Hive anytime today or anytime in the next 30 days to visit innovative technologies in the virtual exhibition platform. I also request all the delegates from both India and Portugal to visit the virtual B2B lounge and interact with other delegates and fix meetings. Thank you all for joining us for the inaugural session, and we wish the summit all the very best. Thank you all.